Hey guys, Chris from AxeFX Tutorials here, and someone in my YouTube comments asked for a quick video on the hold functions in the delay and reverb blocks, and so I wanted to jump on real quick and record something. This isn't my usual microphone. I've been trying some different setups, and I just wanted to get this video out right now, so it sounds a little different than my other videos. I made a pretty basic preset here with an amp and cab. I have my pitch block doing detune that I normally use for my clean tone, just to fatten it up a little bit. And then I have a delay and a reverb block here. Now in both of these blocks, this is the reverb, there's a stack or hold function here. And they're similar but slightly different. And it's in the delay block as well, repeat, stack, and hold. Normally if you have a delay block on and you play, it just repeats what you played until it fades out. And that's very effective, and people have been using it forever and ever. But if you use the hold function, if you play something and then turn hold on, it'll hold those repeats and sort of loop it. It's almost like a mini looper that's just on the repeats of your delay. And then you need to turn it off to get rid of that. Now, to some people that might sound completely unusable, and to others that's exactly what they're looking for. So don't worry too much about what the sounds are in this video. I'm kind of just showing you how to do it, and then use your creativity to use these tools to achieve whatever you want. So that's the hold function. You need to play first. A repeat has to be going to hold it. The stack function is a little different. As you play, it keeps stacking the layers of the delay repeats on top of it. I'll show you what that is. So I can turn it on without playing and then begin playing. And same thing, it'll keep going until you turn it back off. So that's the stack function. It keeps layering what you're doing, sort of like a record and overdub on the looper, if you've ever done something like that. So hold is sort of like a looper where whatever you just played and then turn on hold, it'll loop just that, just by itself. And stack is sort of like a looper with overdub turned on, where it keeps adding to that, building up the layers, if you will, until you turn it off. It's the same sort of thing in the reverb. I'll just do this quickly, but it basically behaves the same way. So here's what the reverb sounds like without stack or hold turned on. Sort of a typical plate reverb. Again, don't judge the sound here too much. I'm trying to do this fast and just show you how the tech works. So if we turn hold on while there's something reverberating or ringing, it'll hold that. And then it fades away when you turn it off. And stack works the same way as the delay block did. You can turn it on and then start playing, or you can play and turn it on while you're doing it, but I'll turn it on. And then you turn it off. So stack and hold are pretty similar, but there's actually a huge difference as far as performing. You might have noticed that if you turn stack on, as I play with stack turned on, everything I play is added to that part being stacked. What I didn't do is play over the hold function, and a lot of people like to do that. So let me demo that real quick with the reverb. Most people will play a chord, turn on hold, and then solo over that, for example. So let me do that. As you could hear, the first reverb part that was held stayed the same the entire time. As I played on top of it, it didn't get added to like it does when you use stack. So again, most people use hold to play a chord or something like that, hold it, and then play over it with some sort of reference under them. So that's how those functions work. But you could see it was kind of awkward having to play with my hands on the guitar and then move over to my mouse and then click these buttons here on edit to do it. I messed up the timing and it wasn't as fast as it could be. Obviously, you want to assign this sort of thing to a foot switch So on the FM3, which we're using here, or on an FC controller, either with the FM3 or the AXFX3. Now to do this, you might think to go to FC controllers and go to your category and look for hold or delay or maybe effect, and then look for function is like delay hold or reverb hold, things like that. But that's not how to do it. There are many options for the FC foot switches, but it would kind of be impossible to put an option for every single parameter in every single block that could potentially be controlled. So in order to control these, we would use a control switch. A control switch is just one of the many source options when using modifiers. If you've ever assigned a wah block, you know that you go into the wah and find the control parameter. That's what makes it go wah wah. Then you right-click it on Edit, and the modifier screen comes up. That's why I keep saying modifier. This is the modifier screen. We're modifying the parameter called control in this example. And then you click the source list. You would typically find your FC pedal 1 or external controller, there it is, 1, or things like that. You also see these things called control switches, and that's what we want to use in this example. So let's set up the reverb block first for a control switch for the hold function. So we would click the reverb block, and then we're going to right-click the parameter we want to control. That would be stack hold right here. Right-click, and the modifier screen comes up. Now the source, we're going to choose control switch 1. We're going to get back to this later, but the minimum and maximum is a very important area. As you might see as I change this, hold and stack are changing. That's going to come back when we want to choose between stack or hold. Anyway, we definitely want off as an option and hold as an option as well. So this is just the first step. We need to assign a modifier to the parameter and choose a source, and that's control switch 1. So we can close this for now. But how do we actually use a control switch? Well, it's a switch that's going to be on the FM3, so we need to set that up. We'll go to FC controllers where you assign things to the switches, and I happen to blank this layout completely clear, so we can just have a good starting point. And let's just put it on this first switch, and we're going to choose category, control switch, momentary or latching. That'll come into play. We're going to choose latching for right now. And control switch 1 is what we used in the modifier, so that's the one we want. We can exit out of here for now. If we look on the FM3 itself, we now see control switch 1 on this switch. And in edit, we can see that stack and hold has some sort of function. So let's try it out. I'm just going to play a chord and then press the switch. And there you have it. Now I have a hold switch for the reverb block, because that's what we assigned on this switch 1. Now let's say we wanted to choose stack instead of hold. Well, we're going to right-click our modifier here, and this is where the minimum and maximum come into play. Now, in most situations, minimum and maximum would refer to the range of a dial, like 0 to 10 for a volume control or something like that. We have the same minimum and maximum knobs here, but because the parameter is like off, stack, and hold, it might not make sense immediately as to why it's a dial, but that's why, because it's typically for ranges of numbers or something like that. Also, because a switch deals with two states, on versus off, that's why there's a maximum and a minimum. When the switch is turned on, it would be at its maximum value. And when the switch is turned off, it would be at its minimum value. Now, in this case, the minimum value happens to be something known as off, the concept of turning the hold off. So don't let that confuse you too much. Again, it would typically be like 0 to 10 or something like that. But in this case, we had it set to hold. That's just what was chosen when you have this knob position here. But if we go down a little bit more, it'll turn to stack. And that's totally fine. You don't need to explore this whole range. It just has to say stack at some point for a parameter like this. So now we've set it to stack, and we can close this. We already have the switch set up, so we don't need to do anything more. And if I play a chord and press the switch again, it'll stack now instead of hold. But yeah, that's it. You right-click and choose if you want hold or stack, and most likely you need a way to turn it off. So I would leave this one set to off. Now, let's get rid of this on the reverb block, and let's do the delay block real quick. I'm just going to set this to none, and that gets rid of the modifier completely. Now, we still have our switch set up on here for control switch 1. There's just no function assigned to control switch 1 at this time since we just cleared it. So I'm going to turn the reverb block off, go to the delay block, and turn it on. And let's do the same thing. Let's right-click on the stack hold parameter here, and we're going to assign a modifier to it. And the source of the modifier is control switch 1, which we've already set up. And we can see it's already set to off and hold, so let's just try that. Okay, now let's set it to stack, and let's try that. Now, the last thing I want to cover real quick is this latching versus momentary. I believe when you load up a control switch here for the first time, it defaults to momentary. And that's not a bad thing, but it depends on the type of function you want. Now, latching means it's sort of a toggle when you press the switch. You press it and let go, and it turns the hold on. And then you press it and let go again, and it turns the hold off. Momentary means whatever effect it's controlling, it's only active when you hold the switch down. If you let go, it turns off. So down is on, up is off. Compared to latching, which was step and release, and it's still going, and then step and release again, and it turns off. So momentary might be something you want. So in order to demo this, I'm going to have to play open strings with my right hand and use my left hand to hold the switch down just the way I'm set up. I'm going to play various strings. I'm going to hold the switch down, and you'll hear the hold going, and then I'll play some other random open strings over it. It's going to sound weird. But then I'll let go, you'll hear the hold go away, and then I'll hold again a different string. So let's see how this works. Okay, that was a weird example, but hopefully you get the idea. As long as I held the switch down, the hold on the delay block was going, and when I let go, it immediately turned off. So if you're the type that wants either the hold or stack function in and out sort of quickly, you can use this momentary to play. Just hold it down while you play, and it'll quickly hold it and let go. Or if you want to play a chord and have it last a long time, and you can just solo freely without having to hold your foot down on a switch, I would use the latching mode for that. So very easy to change and very easy to try both. See what works for you, momentary versus latching. And that's pretty much it. Remember, in the delay block, it's called repeat, stack, and hold. And in the reverb block, it's just called stack and hold. And you want to right-click it, assign a source of a control switch, like control switch 5, and then change the max knob to either stack or hold, depending on which one you want at the time. Go into your FC switch setup, either if it's on the FM3 or an external FC6 or 12, and also assign a switch to the control switch that you chose there. So in this case, we chose 5 in that example. And now this is control switch 5, and press it and let go if you want momentary versus latching, that sort of thing. So again, this was just a quick video. I saw the comment and wanted to explain it really quickly. Don't judge the tones I did on here. It's just for the demonstration of how to use the stack and hold. And sorry for this microphone. It's not the usual one I use, but hopefully that helped. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.